Hello guys and welcome to episode number 22 for What the Tech. My name is Adam Lobo.
And I'm Vernon. Good to be back.
Yes, today or this week we have lots of things to talk about as usual. The tech world does not sleep. That's what they said.
Mm-hmm.
Syed has
Neither do
written
we.
a lot of very interesting stuff. Neither do we. Especially, you know how they say Tech-tember, Techtober. It's getting earlier. Now it's July. And we have a bunch of things to talk about, bunch of releases. For today's episode, we're going to do something a little different. It's going to be like a mini review, mini reaction. And for me, it's more like a post-reaction from my first impressions. But for Vernon, of course, veteran in the scene, he's going to give us our immediate expression or the reactions right after. And it's going to happen live here. So we want to try something a little different for you to also get contrasting opinions, whether or not it's the same opinions as mine or maybe it's something totally different. That is where, and that is what makes What the Tech a bit more unique. So we'll be talking about the Nothing Headphone 1 and the Nothing Phone 3. We do not have the Nothing Phone 3. To be honest, we have it, but we can't show you. Embargo. But we can actually talk about the Nothing Headphone 1 because yes, if you followed us on YouTube, you can already see our community poll that we do have the phone, we just cannot break embargo to show it over here. Second news, which Syed has wrote, is Google Pixel 7 banned in Japan.
Yay.
Potentially other future Pixel devices that will be banned too. We'll let you all know why. The third news is Samsung is rumored to remove the S Pen and to replace it with the Qi 2 magnets. Vernon already is giving his expression right now. So we'll see about that. And then for Vernon's very special Who Asked for This? This might be a bit more positive, I predict, is the 8,000 milliamps of battery phone from Xiaomi, specifically for Poco and also for Redmi.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that. In terms of the community segment, again, Syed has wrote a question, which the question asks, what sort of an Android user are you, whether or not you're a stock Android purist or you prefer what the brand has done with their own skin, like One UI or ColorOS or sort. We do have the results. We'll be discussing about that. We'll be also talking about what's exciting next week. So that is what we'll be ending the whole entire podcast. Okay, Vernon, Nothing Phone or the Nothing releases. Before we go into the devices at first, give me your lowdown because you stayed up and watched. So interesting fact, we were discussing in a group chat, and this is honest to God. Vernon actually messaged, okay guys, who's watching? And I replied, I'm not watching it live. Syed replied, nope. Liu just kept quiet. He probably sleeping then. So you watched it. Tell us about your reaction when you watched the event.
But the reason you didn't watch is because you guys have already seen it, right? And you've already played with the device.
That's a good point.
Under embargo.
That's a good point. And also because Nothing didn't call us to go to London. So
But honestly speaking, I didn't watch it either.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah. when you guys say you're not watching it, I didn't watch
okay
it.
lah. So we sama-sama did not watch it.
But I mean, I've been following the leaks. I've seen everything about it. So again, it's a very polarizing, very divisive design for the new phone. I mean, if the objective was to create hype and conversations, I think they are successful in that aspect. But to call it beautiful, it's not. To call it elegant, it is definitely not. But certainly different. So I think Nothing has carved a niche out of doing things differently, and I give them full credit for that. Okay. They're very brave, they're courageous. They take risk. And as you can see, risk. I'm not a fan of the design. I think probably 80% of the internet agrees with me, I think.
Yeah, I think more.
Maybe more. Yeah. Asymmetry, kind of taken to the extreme. Like I mentioned to you during lunch, I call it the Van Gogh of smartphones. Like,
yeah, because the whole idea of not being symmetrical, it killed the OCD part of me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not completely a write-off, but I feel that it is a bit of a risky move because it's completely different from the previous generation.
Okay.
Like, I mean, 19.1 and 2 were quite similar in that sense. They had the glyph interface and stuff like that. But design language-wise, it was quite consistent. But then again, when I looked at the black one, it didn't look so bad. I thought the black looked quite good. Maybe it hides that lens.
Could be
that was
because
very
it
close to
blends
the
together.
frame. Yeah, but again, it's definitely a topic for conversation, I feel. I don't really want to talk about the specs because I think, okay, it's a high-end, true flagship kind of specs for Android. I'm not going to argue with that. I think it looks pretty good. I don't think the cameras are that great in terms of specs. Display is 1.5, what do you call that? A little bit better than 1080p, so a little bit less than 2K, which is all right for a flagship. But otherwise, yeah, the glyph matrix replacing the original glyph, in my humble opinion, still gimmicky, and I feel the novelty is going to wear off pretty soon. But like we discussed during a couple of episodes back where we talked about it, there will be additional features, maybe little applications like games. And true enough, there's a toys kind of games and more coming soon. Also a caller ID feature, I feel, that's going to come soon as well. But yeah, good pricing though. 3,003 Malaysian or USD 799, which is a little bit more than the previous generation.
Yeah, that is the conversion rate that we're looking at.
Yeah,
so
but
the
I
official price is
think-
not out yet. So
Yeah.
that is something that
Still
we are
good
just-
value
yeah,
for
so-
Android device.
Okay.
Flagship. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, you've played with it. I don't
Let's
know if you
break it
can
down.
comment.
Let's break it
Extensively,
down to
but
what
yeah.
I like to do this, where I break it down to what I like, what I don't like.
Sure.
The design, I'm half.
Half.
Yeah, that means like I'm okay and not okay with it. I am not like fully not okay with it, like a lot of people, including you. I just, like I say, I just cannot take the non-symmetrical camera bump. I like the fact that it does not look like an iPhone now, compared to the first two generations.
I agree.
So I like the fact that it's different. So for the first time ever, it looks like a totally different phone. Their decision of making the camera off could be to spark this kind of conversations. We don't
It's
know.
like a notch on an iPhone, right?
Yes,
It's
correct.
Spark conversation.
Before we talk about the price, I've mentioned in the Nothing Phone 1 and even the Nothing Phone 2 that I was not a fan or I was not a big believer in the glyph lights in the first place. They sold the fact that the glyph lights was to give you soft lighting when you take selfie photos at night. But what happened to that? And in my review, if you guys watched the review, I didn't cover so much on the glyph lighting, although it's pasted or plastered all over in their marketing campaigns. Because personally for me, and I believe you too, see, when you put your phone on the table, we don't put it face down.
No. Some people do like
I know,
Marquez.
like Marcus
Yeah.
said that he put it face down.
Yeah, I don't.
It's dirty, like what he said.
Yeah.
It's also, there's a huge potential that the screen might scratch even though you have.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what people are hiding to hide the screen. In the end of the day, it's a phone call. It's a phone call. You can show your wallpaper. You're always on display. And I always felt, and I've said this in our videos and also outside when people ask me, I felt like this glyph interface or the glyph lighting specifically is something that is like, okay, it's different, but it's not going to stay for a long time. And I was right. So the glyph lights are not here. So their new selling point is the glyph matrix.
Yeah.
Very similar, we all know, from Asus, the Anime Matrix. So Syed is also using the Asus,
The ROG.
the ROG. And I can attest that he doesn't use it as much. It's cool to have, but it's a novelty feature. Something that, even though when you have the caller ID and all, we are still going to put our phone in front. And I guess people who want to cheat cannot cheat. Who's calling you? My mother. Actually, some scandal. So, but jokes aside, I feel that this glyph matrix is not going to be here
Last
for
very long.
probably maybe the next generation. What are your thoughts about that? Do you
It could
that
be
this
bigger.
a bigger glyph matrix. I thought it's going to be bigger though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think there's going to be like a small
So
circle.
Nothing Phone
It's like-
4 may be like an entire screen at the back. Who knows, right?
It's not like it's not done before, but
Yeah.
it's probably something.
Again,
that-
it's a novelty, it's a differentiator for Nothing to be
maybe they
different.
put it like the top half of the
Yeah.
with the screen there. Probably. It's like how when the first Z Flip was released, the screen was so tiny.
Yeah,
remember?
it was a tiny screen. Yeah.
And then eventually they kind of expanded it. So that could be it. I will talk about specs. I know that you don't care about the specs, but I think like let's be a bit more neutral since you are all about no. Maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
I love the fact
I'm
that
just no for the design bit. To be honest, I think as a phone, it's still a very good phone for the price. I think it maybe it's almost like a no-brainer to buy a high-end phone for $3,000.
Okay.
Very capable phone, very good specs.
The camera setup, I like the fact that every camera is a 50 megapixel. So I believe
You get
that
some consistency across the board.
the thing about Nothing is that it happened in a Nothing Phone 1 and a Nothing Phone 2, whereby like when the first time when we tested, and then there's updates, it did improve the image quality. So hopefully now we don't have to wait. Hopefully now out of the box, when we test out the cameras, it's going to be great. The good news is that you know how much I'm very anal about this, but the front video camera records up to 4K.
Yay!
So I'm glad about that. One thing which I do not like, I don't mind the battery, 5,150 milliamps of battery, because I think we have reached to a point whereby the size for Android phones is also, I wouldn't say it does not matter, but it is still very subjective based on the chipset. So speaking of the chipset, that's a good segue, because if you're calling this phone a flagship, but it's using the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, compared to smartphones that like the Poco F7 Ultra is using the Snapdragon 8 Elite, the similar phones like the Samsung Galaxy S25, exact price $799 USD, using a Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy. What are your thoughts about the chipset specifically? Do you call this a flagship because of that?
Yeah, I would still call it a flagship. I think it's still a Snapdragon 8 series.
Okay.
So I don't think the difference is going to be that much. It's probably maybe GPU, maybe NPU. I don't think it's going to be like a deal breaker for anything, to be honest.
How about the front glass? They are not using Victus. They're using Victus at the back, but they're using the 7i,
that's a good point.
The budget glass, right?
Yeah,
So,
I think it's good enough.
okay.
But to call it a flagship, but maybe the flagship for nothing and not comparing flagship to other flagships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to also consider the price point. It's not a $5,000 device, it's a $3,000 device.
3,000-ish,
Yeah,
based
ish.
on a conversion.
Yeah.
So the pricing, in case you all did not know, based on USD, because we don't have the official price here in Malaysia yet,
$799.
is USD 799 for the 12 gigabytes of RAM with 256 gigabytes of storage, and 899 for the 16 gigabytes of RAM. So there's a bump on the RAM specs and also the storage, which goes up to 512 gigabytes of option.
Yep.
Do you think 899 is reasonable for a 512 16 gigabyte phone?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah. A little bit more than you would pay for the old Nothing phone, but yeah, it's a little bit of a step up.
Okay.
And that's what Carpe already announced earlier. It's going to be more expensive, going to be more premium. But yeah, we'll see.
Which Android phone you feel goes head to head with this particular Nothing Phone 3? If you had to guess, maybe like any Android phone.
S25.
The regular.
Yeah,
Okay.
S25, the regular. Because otherwise it's going to be, the price will be much more, right? Or
It is also comparable price when it
iPhone
comes
16.
to the iPhone 16. Exactly.
Yep.
But the reason why I say Android specifically, because we all know when it comes to spec, I mean, the fact that the iPhone 16 still has a 60 hertz display.
iPhone never looks
Yeah.
good on spec sheet.
And comparison
Always.
for
Yeah.
situations like this. So
But
that's
also,
why
let's not forget, I think the beauty about Nothing is not just the hardware, but Nothing OS. I think I'm a fan of Nothing OS.
Yeah.
And it's just different. It's so much sleeker and smooth and very light. So if I were to buy a Nothing phone, it would primarily be because of Nothing OS and how it just looks and feels. I really like it. Yeah.
Going back to the glyph matrix, there's also the glyph button at the back, which when you press it, you keep on pressing. It's almost feels like a touch ID those days on the iPad or even on the iPhone.
Yeah.
If only they also allow that to be
Customized.
customizable and also give you different kind of features. So
Who knows?
Yeah,
nothing,
who knows?
Nothing 4,
Yeah,
right?
so,
Nothing phone 4.
so hopefully they can do something about that. Is the fact that they have only 5 years of OS update compared to Samsung with 7 years of OS update. Do you feel like it's still fine, or you feel like
I think it's still fine. Seriously, 7 years for a phone? No
Yeah.
way.
I mean, I'm glad that we are complaining about things positively.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years is good.
Yeah.
5 years is excellent. But I think
I think
7
5
years
years is just nice.
Yeah.
Right?
But even then, I tend to feel that people, at least maybe the younger generation, tend
Okay.
to upgrade their phones quite frequently.
Okay. Let's close off the Nothing Phone 3 with this particular feature, which for me, it was, I'm half, meaning like I find it helpful at the same time. I don't find it as helpful because I'm a screenshot slut. So I want to know, what are your thoughts about the essential space on Nothing Phone, since you love Nothing OS?
I think it's cool. It's an added feature, obviously. It adds convenience. I think convenience is good. Anything that has a shortcut to convenience.
If you were to daily drive a Nothing Phone, do you feel like you will try to use it and you feel
I think
beneficial
so, yeah.
for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Got it. After we're done, we're going to make you daily drive it and then you give us your report.
Sure. I don't mind it. I really like the Nothing OS.
All right, so that is for the Nothing Phone 3. If you guys have any feedback or any things that you all feel about the phone, are you all on the side of the 80% or 90% which Vernon mentioned about how you don't really like the design, but what is it that you like and what you don't like? Because I'm sure there's some things that you can actually like as well. So that would be for the Nothing Phone 3. We will be doing a review. I am slightly going towards one shot doing a comparison video.
Okay.
That's the reason why I ask you. And I think comparing it with the S25 base model, it's a very compelling option to compare it. Why? Because we did a video whereby I replaced my S25 Ultra with the S25, and there were a lot of things that was really shocking about it. And since it comes at the same price, we might do a comparison video. So if you guys would like to see that, let us know in the comment section below. All right.
Nice.
Phone done, Vernon. Now let's talk about the headphones. Okay, so in my review, I had my pros and cons. So I have the headphones here. We're going to try something a little different. I'm going to pass it to you.
Okay.
Give us, let's not talk about sound quality because, you need time to listen and stuff.
Sure.
Let's just talk about what you like and what you don't like. So the phone is here. The headphones. So the headphones is here. So we're going to try like a live reaction between you and the headphones.
Oh, it's actually quite light. So nice build. To be honest, I've seen pictures of it. I haven't really touched it. It feels quite premium. So the aluminium case and there's this plasticky thing here.
So you find that the plastic is premium?
No, I think the metal bits are premium. This I'm on the fence on this. It has a very retro design, and I think my initial impressions was like, it's very Braun inspired.
Oh yeah,
And looks a bit like a cassette deck. I'm sure you've seen this already. It's quite plush, not too bad. Just try it.
So I know you can hear me because the passive noise cancellation is quite.
The passive
hard.
is actually really quite good.
So Dave today says that it's headphones where it looks nicer, not on your head. He says that it looks good on the product images, like if it's on a table. It's quite interesting because that's why I just love Dave 2D, because he thinks outside the box.
I feel because it actually looks clean. So as a object that you photograph or videograph, I think it looks quite nice. But on the head, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I can't really see myself.
Yeah. Okay.
How do I look?
Maybe because Dave
Do I look
2D is
odd?
a friend. But
okay, wait. To be honest, it's going to be a head turner when you wear it in public. People will be wondering, what the hell are you wearing?
Yeah. Okay.
But it could be quite interesting, yeah.
Okay.
Although this is quite plush, I feel that it might be better if it was fabric. Because if you were to wear this for extended periods of time, it's going to be fatiguing. And it's going to be tiring. And I feel it's also a little bit heavy on the head.
Okay.
Feels a little bit tight.
Okay.
The band is a little bit tight. But overall, pretty nice design, very balanced. I haven't, tested the sound, so I don't know whether it's good or not. I like the tactile buttons.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Totally agree.
these two things are really good. Apparently, the roller is for volume, and then this, what do you call this?
Pedal.
The paddle, not pickleball paddle.
No.
No, this paddle is for kind of skipping tracks and stuff. I really like it. I hate touch interfaces on my audio gear. Whether it's AirPods, whether it's Jabra, Jabra doesn't have, but Sony's terrible. I don't like them. There's a little button for.
My favorite.
I know you complained about it.
Yes, I'll talk about
in
more
your
later.
review.
Yeah.
But I feel that it's because being it so discreet is because it's not something that you use all the time.
Okay.
And you only need to use whenever you pair a new device.
Okay, fine.
So that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Thank you for your first
Nothing
impressions.
returning to form, I think, as an audio device. They started with audio before they did phones. So I think it's nice.
So we saw the leaks, guys. If you can see it very clearly, you saw the review. I'm going to just give you a quick recap of what I liked. First and foremost, I liked the overall design. I liked it. My wife said it looks like a pasar malam. So for those of you not listening to this from Malaysia, pasar malam means like a cheap night market. I liked it. So I am just going to put my foot down and say, I like it. I don't care what people said. To answer Dave Toodie's question, whether or not it looks not as good on the head compared to putting it on the table, not because he's a friend, but I agree with him. It does look a bit weird. It looks a bit ridiculous. Because after he said that, I don't know whether because his words are influencing me. When I went to Instagram, because we did post it on Instagram, and I look at it and say, yeah, it do look weird and stupid. But
again, just like the phone, I feel that the black one actually looks really good.
I should have got the black one. Then.
Yeah, you should get one just to compare.
Yeah,
I think it's less loud. So there's a bit
That's
of
why I
elegance
wanted
to
the
it.
white because there's
There's an elegance to it when you. It's not
Okay.
so conspicuous.
Other than the design, guys, I also I would echo what Vernon says. I love the physical controls. The jog button, I did not mention this in our video. It only works for nothing phones. The jog front, jog back.
Also, it's called a jog.
Yeah,
not
the pedal.
Okay.
So you can,
jog left,
so
right,
you
okay.
can change tracks. That works with every phone, Samsung phones, iPhone, the nothing phone. But the idea of pressing and holding it to jog forward and back, which is super Walkman vibes, that only works on a nothing phone as of now because you know how upgrades are. I hate the Bluetooth button here simply because I use many phones. Maybe a lot of people don't use many phones. The idea of you putting it like that and then you need is it there? It's like trying to defuse a bomb. You know, dun, 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 dun. You know, you try to find it. And at least it's slightly raised. It's okay because you have so much space here to raise it. You get what I mean? So that's why. So for example, I want to pair it with my laptop because they have dual device connection, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know about other people. For me, I pair it with my iPhone and my Android phone of choice. Right. What if I'm using my iPad? What if I'm using my laptop? I need to redo it again. I just have to take it out and then
Point taken.
Yeah, so that's my point. Again, I wouldn't complain if Sony did something like this because Sony is questionable. I mean, their decisions are always very questionable, especially the name. But nothing though, you get what I mean? So that is my so-called con. But when it comes to audio quality, amazing.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And remember I talked about the audio peaking on iPhone, which I mentioned in the review. Right. The latest update is the fact that now, after a recent update, which I predicted, so there was a recent update, I updated it, and no more audio peaking on the iPhone. So good job, nothing. Really, really good job. It's nice because
and
they
what's the sound signature of this phone? Is it neutral? Is it bassy? Is it warm?
By default, it is neutral, but there is some color on the lower end just to make it sound good out of the box. I'm using the custom EQ because I am an audiophile and a musician. So I am using custom EQ. I like it with my custom EQ. And what's good about it, also something that we never mentioned in the video, is the fact that once you custom EQ it once, even though I pass it to you and you pair it on your iPhone, it will follow default of that custom EQ. So the EQ stays, the
Right.
setting stays. So that is something also very much worth mentioning as well. And the app is great. The Nothing X app, because of how software they've been really great. So the Nothing X app is really good. I agree with the ear cups. That's something which I do not like. It does. If you see my review, I wore it for a while and I just
feels
took it
hot.
out, and you can see my ears are red. And I purposely reviewed it without my earrings, in case you guys are wondering, just to make sure, because not everybody wear
Also,
earrings.
it can't be removed easily to be
so
replaced.
at least
right?
the AirPods Max and the Sonos
Yeah.
Ace, hence why I actually had a
Magnetic
comparison.
thing.
You can actually easily remove this. Apparently they will, but I don't want to like break it. It's so hard. And one thing which the AirPods Max and the Sonos Ace had over this is that, you know, when you cover your ears, because this is on-ear
On-ear.
headphones, right? There is no gap. It's touching. And for me, like a medium-sized ears, the amount of space and gap that you have on the AirPods Max and also the Sonos Ace is great. So that is something which I felt it was a little annoying.
Right.
Noise cancellation, for active noise cancellation, for noises is fine, but wind noises, it sucks.
Oh, really?
Ceiling fan on in my house, you've been to my house, I can hear it.
But that's a constant noise, though. How come it doesn't
Yeah, I
do
know.
well?
So I was shocked.
That's like
I was like,
the-
am I just imagining it? No.
It's like the easier noise to
easier
cancel.
noise to remove. I don't know why they didn't do a good job there. The vacuum sealing effect, you know how like after a
Yeah.
while you have that fatigue, right?
Some
the
people
middle.
can't take it because they'll get
Yeah, I
headaches.
cannot. I don't get it on the Sony's. I don't get it on any other noise cancellation. This one has it. And battery life, I don't care, because that is also a software update kind of thing. But it all comes down to what the exact retail price is, especially in Malaysia. If the price is reasonable, then all the things I mentioned is fine. I'm just being critical as a reviewer, but I think that is the main thing which is very much questionable in terms of the pricing. The pricing is fine. Then it should
What
be.
do you reckon the pricing is going to be?
If you use about 1,000-ish ringgit, then I was like, get it, because it's so much cheaper than the AirPods Max, so much cheaper
Yeah,
than the
the Sony.
Sony XM6,
XM6
which I
now.
am planning to do a review, a comparison video between that. Whatever
Does
the
it
price
come
is.
with replacement mouse?
It does not.
Okay.
So speaking of that,
I do like the packaging. I think the packaging
this
is
is
pretty
the
nice.
exact packaging.
Packaging is really nice.
What I mentioned in my review is that if you have a cat, that's it. Because you can see Luna's fur is here. There you go. Here's her fur. I like this.
Yeah.
It feels nice. I hate the zipper because it feels like it's going to break anytime soon.
Like the cheap zipper.
Marcus Brownlee complained about it. Linus did not complain about it. So everybody was on Linus' video complaining about the fact that Marcus Brownlee complained about it. I don't know why people do this. They are all friends. We are all friends. So please calm down. Don't have to make us hate each other. Inside is actually kind of good. It feels very nice and secured.
Yeah.
Although you cannot fold the headphones, but I still feel like from a... See, it's so
oh,
hard.
yeah. Sounds like it's going to break
Yeah,
anytime.
anytime. It's like, so I have to be very... See, I
Uh,
can't... You try. So you just try to just close it. Just close it. No, there. Easy? Yeah.
the OCD in me.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, God. It's terrible.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Nice surface.
A
though.
very
Nice
long
felt.
review reaction that we did. So that's the Nothing Headphones one. Stay tuned for an in-depth comparison video between that and the XM6, which we'll be doing really soon. So subscribe and stay tuned for that review right here as well. All right, back to news. I believe, Vernon, I've spoken a lot earlier about all these devices, so I'll give the floor or the table to you to talk about the Google Pixel 7 being banned in Japan. Talk to us about that. What's happening?
Although this patent was not new, but apparently in Japan, this is like a landmark victory and a landmark case where a product is banned because of an infringement of a standard patent infringement. I mean, standard patent infringement. So this involves Google, obviously, and a South Korean company called Pantech. So Pantech is a tech company. They used to do mobile phones. They have thousands of worldwide patents all over the world in telecoms, smart devices, and IoT space. If you didn't know, in 2024, OnePlus had a very similar court case with them, which
Which was
OnePlus
based on
lost.
5G instead of 4G though.
Yeah, 5 infringements related to wireless tech, and initially it was up to 10 million, which OnePlus was supposed to pay, but I think it was pared down to 1 million in the end. But yeah, so this is the first case in Japan, and it involves the Pixel 7, and I'm just going to read this. The court cited an insincere attitude from Google during investigation and legal proceedings, and this lack of cooperation regarding licensing, negotiations, and providing sales date for the Pixel 7 in Japan. So influence the severity of this ruling. And to be honest, personally, I feel I'm unconvinced that the impact of the Pixel 7 on Google's bottom line, I think, because since it's a very old model, and Google officially doesn't sell this at all in Japan, aside from existing telcos and also retailers that may carry this product.
Okay.
Right?
Good
Because
point.
it's so old, it's Pixel 7.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
To be honest, again, there's no biggie for Google. All they can do is maybe pay up the fine if they want, which of course you got to admit you're wrong, right? But if they stick to the guns, they can just honor the ban and will have little or no impact on the bottom line.
Do you feel like it's going to have a ripple effect with the Pixel 8 and the 9?
So this is what happened. Pentec may have Pixel 8 and Pixel 9 on their sites.
Wow.
So that could be interesting. And apparently the company has applied for an import ban on all Pixel devices in Japan. And this is done through the Japanese customs.
I didn't know that
it
Pixel
sounds-
is not officially sold in Japan. So I guess, like what you said,
But it sounds like a
doesn't-
patent troll to me, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's normal.
But it's funny though. I mean, we all know Japan as being that kind of, like, hey, we are chill, bro. So finding out this kind of
No, when it
news.
involves money, right? So
Well, I guess every country is the same. Knowing the fact that they are not officially selling over there, yeah, I don't think Google or even Japan cares as much. I think they just need the money and they can just move on with their life.
yeah, but I mean, if it affects Pixel 8, Pixel 9, and the future of Pixel 10, that could be detrimental to Google's expansion plans.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, it only covers Pixel 7.
Okay. So that would be for the Pixel 7 ban. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. The third news or the final news that we want to talk about is the fact that we are going back to talking about the S Pen again. So apparently the rumored Galaxy S26 Ultra may completely remove the S Pen. First they removed the
Sad
Bluetooth.
face.
First they removed the Bluetooth from the S Pen. Now the rumors are suggesting that they are going to take out the whole entire S Pen and then replace it with a Qi 2 magnetic or compatible magnetic embedded ones like what you find in MagSafe.
Yeah.
Of course, Qi 2 magnets are more efficient in terms of wireless charging. Being
Better throughput,
certified,
bandwidth.
you can use great charging devices like from Belkin, the ones who are certified, or Qi 2 certified ones. And it can possibly be a thinner form factor without having that physical pen because the pen is thick. But before I give my thoughts, what are your thoughts about removing the S Pen totally to replace this particular Qi 2 magnets?
Firstly, I was super sad when they killed off the Note because I was a fan of the Note. I had a Note 9 for the longest time, and really one of my favorite devices. And then it was reduced to the S Ultra, right? So we still had the S Pen, but they kind of unified and simplified the lineup to S devices. No more Note. But I feel the S Pen's days may be numbered. I feel that in a generation or two, the S Pen will be no more. I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's the truth, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Is it because there are less and less people using the S Pen or the stylus?
Could be.
But yeah, and this obsession with trying to make devices thinner and thinner. I still don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, by compromising on features and compromising on user experience. I feel it's not such a great trade-off Maybe Samsung thinks it's so, and maybe it's based on user research and feedback. I don't know. But those are my thoughts. I'm a bit disappointed that if this is to make way for Qi charging, maybe it's a trade-off, but not that I would be happy about. It's not something that I'll be happy about. Yeah.
Okay. Like you, we got so many similarities, of course. I love the Note series. I remember this is before we even had a team. I did a video about the Note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before the 10 or the 20 Ultra came out.
20 Ultra.
I did like a history of the Note. I went looking for all the Notes and I did it. I really liked the Note. I was a Note 2 user.
Wow.
Note 2, Note 4. I wanted to get a 6, but I didn't. So remember, there's no 6. So they went with 7, and we all know what happened with the 7. And then from the 9, then after that we got the Ultra. I love the Note series. But one thing which I did realize is that I was disappointed when the S25 Ultra did not have the Bluetooth function to take a photo and stuff like that. But here's the truth and the honest fact. Because my Android device, other than an iPhone, is actually the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And this whole year, I have not used the S Pen at all.
Why do you think so?
I don't know. I cannot answer the question, but it is a fact. It's the fact. I never use the S Pen, like at all. I know it's there. Maybe at the back of my head, it's like, oh, the Bluetooth doesn't work anymore. But maybe the year before I did it, I did use the Bluetooth a lot, doing the features and all. We talked about how the glyph matrix, it's a novelty feature. It's sad but true that the S Pen has become like a feature that is there that you probably don't really need it.
It's like a good to have thing, but not a necessity.
I mean, you can't even say that it's for the tech guys because I'm a tech guy, but I'm not using the S Pen. Sad. I will admit it's extremely sad, but I just don't use the S Pen at all. It's sad. So if it's gone, I'll be sad about it. But then I look in the mirror and I'll be like, yeah, you never use it, what? Of course, Samsung's going to remove it. I don't know how they collect data to find out. Maybe they have some secret way of finding out how many times have Adam removed the S Pen from the phone.
I'm sure it can be done.
Adam Lobo does not use the S Pen. I'm not proud about it because the fact that I'm not using it, it actually solidifies the decision from Samsung to say that, well, you're not using it, we take it out.
Yeah.
I'm sure, because for me, I do use magnetic charging way much more because I'm an iPhone user. So now, if they're going to introduce that and going to remove the S Pen, I'll be like, okay, because I don't like using a phone with a case, right?
Right.
So I would prefer to have that. And so, but it's sad. Do you have any idea why people have stopped using?
I have no idea. I mean, I love the S Pen and I use it for note taking, use it for doodling, for work and play. So it's I find it a bit shocking that nobody's using that. So
okay, all right. So that would be it. I guess when it comes to the S Pen removal, it is sad. That's what we can conclude. But in terms of whether or not we would prefer the Qi 2 wireless charging, especially a certified one, that'd be great. They could even possibly, by having that official certification and by having that MagSafe style capabilities, they can even possibly even increase the speed of wireless charging moving forward.
But the question is, why can't we have both? Why can't we have the stylus and Qi 2 charging?
You're right. Because, don't know who's asking for this, because apparently people want thinner smartphones. That is the problem. Like I said, I don't know where are they getting this data from, because on our next segment, on our next segment of Who Asked for This by Vernon Chan, Xiaomi is saying, you know what, the possibility of the Poco F8 and Redmi devices next year is going to have an 8,000 milliamps of battery, bro.
Sounds good to me.
So you asked for this.
Yeah, sounds good to me. A bigger battery always helps. Without the penalty of weight and size. So with silicon carbon, I think they've kind of got that sorted. So it's going to be super high capacity, slimmer, denser. So that's nice. 8,000 is a start. I'm sure they'll figure out 20,000 in no time.
Oh God!
And then they'll be banned from airlines.
I just want to say,
You'll have no smartphones on airlines anymore.
Sorry, sir, you can't go in. It's like a Note 7 situation, but now it's in a different.
But I mean, on the flip side, you don't have to carry power banks anymore, right? So you just bring your phone and.
For me, Poco phones especially, and Redmi phones, I like how they are bringing this on the Redmi and the Poco phones because their battery optimization has always been one of the best. I still find that Google Pixel, especially the 9A, has been great when it comes to battery optimization. But Poco and Redmi especially, they really know how to play with the battery optimization. It's been really great. The rumors suggest that it starts off, they're already testing 8,000 milliamps, but it could go up to 8,500 to 9,000 milliamps.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I think if anyone who can do it is Xiaomi, because they are very well versed in terms of battery capacity. They have their car, which is a full EV. Said just wrote a news yesterday. We couldn't put it in this week's episode about how they finally might consider selling the cars globally. Please God. Year 26 or 27. So yeah, I think if anyone who can do it very well would be Xiaomi or even Vivo, because Vivo's battery optimization is also really good on the Vivo V50 Lite. So I hope that Xiaomi does this. Hopefully it is something that they can execute well so that we can go like, other phones are following suit. Yeah. So who asked for this? Vernon and I.
I think the world needs it. The world needs it.
I totally agree. I think
we all need bigger batteries.
We are not going to be complaining about, who asked for a bigger battery, because we all asked for a bigger battery, but we didn't ask for a thinner device. So guys, please get your priorities right. Okay. As for the community segment, Said has wrote a question this week is, what sort of an Android user are you? Are you a stock Android purist, or do you prefer what the brand puts into your own skin, meaning like One UI, Color OS, Oxygen OS those days?
Nothing OS.
The highest vote comes to, I like specific Android versions and the elements that it brings. And the less is, or the 14% is that I don't really care what Android version I'm using.
I don't really care. I don't really know.
I don't care. So this one must be the uncles and aunties, like we always say. And then stock Android user. Some people still like stock Android for pure experience. Yeah. Before we go into your thoughts, let's just read, because we do have 5 comments. 118 votes, 5 comments. Simi Sharma says a bit of both. That's not answering the question technically. Nash Day says that he used to love the stock Android, but nowadays he prefer when the brands bring their own skin to the Androids. And then we have Will Rivera says that I have the Motorola for mostly stock Android. You're a big Moto fan, so
Moto represent.
And then the Big Digger, he says that
Big Digger again.
Yeah, he
comes from time to time.
And I always. It sounds wrong when I said the big black digger, so that's why I decided. But you know what? Let's not. Said is laughing at the back. Said is behind the console today, so he's laughing. He's butt off now. Yeah, his name is the big black digger. Okay. Bang. So, without any discrimination of sounding, because when you say big black, it's like, okay, never mind. So he says stock Android is overrated. Focus. In his opinion. He valued the fact that some brands implement the quality of life improvements with their versions that are not available in stock. Exploding Heavens, what a name. It sounds like a band, like a metal band.
Exploding Heavens.
Wow. I don't care so much as long as manufacturers doesn't change the UI that I'm used to without my approval. Okay, boss. Okay.
Can we move the icons? No.
No. I need to give the approval.
Why you change my wallpaper? No.
I don't. What are your thoughts? Do you feel like this particular percentage makes sense? But what is Vernon's thoughts about this?
I think it's fair. I think, first let's talk about stock Android. Stock Android is where Google envision this is how Android should be. And some people like that. I like that. because it's fast, it's clean, you get faster updates. And yeah, so everything's clean, there's no bloatware, which is, I think, a very big point for a lot of people. So, but there's also some that are actually not stock Android, but very stock-ish Android, like Motorola has a very stock-ish.
Even the
Nokia
Google
used to do that.
Pixel is not stock Android. It's still some elements of tweaks
so-
that the Pixel did. Stock
so-
Android is really like stock.
Yeah,
It's
so there
totally-
is benefits to
Yeah.
that, and I'm in that camp. But I also think that brand-specific Android versions has its advantages. People like Samsung has done a great deal for Android. I think
Agreed.
they have really good skin with one UI. I feel Nothing OS has done a very good job in really almost reskinning the entire thing. Right? It's a very unique experience. And yeah, it brings additional features, a lot of lifestyle features, like one of the commenters said, and there is advantages of that, and some people like that. And that's the Android that they know. They don't know what stock Android is. They know what Samsung pulls out. They know what Oppo pulls out. They know what Nothing pulls out. So that's entirely their experience that they know. And then lastly, the one that doesn't really care, I guess that's also the benefit of Android, where it just works.
Okay.
Yeah. No matter what form and flavor it is, it just works. And people are okay with that.
There's many Android skins, right, as you mentioned. But if you have to choose just one Android skin, let's not talk about the design, the hardware perspective, just an OS. Are you leaning towards Nothing being your favorite?
Nothing's my favorite, but stock is also would be my first choice. On my Moto, I actually installed Lineage, which is a custom Android skin.
I know.
But it's very kind of stock looking, very because I get the latest Android version. For my particular device, it was only capped at Android 12. But with Lineage, I can push it up to Android 15 and still runs like a dream. So which is why I'm going there. But it's a very stock experience. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I mistakenly thought that stock Android was what the Nokia A1 had. Whatever Pixel had, those were stock Android. So I used to rave a lot to say that, oh, stock Android FTW, for the win. But I will be honest to say that I mistaken that for stock Android. Because for me, I thought, oh, there's no bloatware and it's a Google phone, or Nokia had that for their A1 series. The A1 phone, I remember it was stock Android, but it's not stock Android. So I think the perception of people stock Android is different. So I was mistaken about that. And when I found out that stock Android is as basic as you get, I did not like it. So
It's AOSP.
So it is really stock, like really clean.
There's
and
nothing.
There's nothing. It's just there, right? But if I had to choose just one Android skin, I would go with One UI. I love One UI.
I think One UI has
The way One UI have grown since Samsung
evolved.
Experience. Remember Samsung Experience?
Yeah.
Karan skin.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah, Samsung
it
was bad.
was so bad.
In the early days, it was really
the early
bad.
days. I remember I was using Samsung Experience. And it's like, oh my God. So when they changed to One UI,
Which is why for the longest time I was using Nexus phones. So it was very stock Google, right?
stock Google, correct.
And then I loved HTC.
Yes.
HTC
Which
has
is
a very good
also,
skin.
the whole Android experience.
Yeah.
So
But
when
yes, One UI.
Samsung got One UI, there's certain elements, especially now with Nowbar being very close to Dynamic Island, but the way they've placed it and the way they made it happen is still very Samsung, which I love. And some people may complain, but the ones are always complaining are the ones where I used to specific user interface. Same like when I edit photos, I use Snapseed a lot. I got shocked because I just saw a new user interface. The immediate thing we as users is we react to those and go like, oh my God, what is this? I don't like this. Go back to the old one. It's not whether I want to know whether it's better. It's about immediately giving that mentality that, oh, this is new, so it sucks. right?
Yeah.
So I love what Samsung is doing with One UI, and having an experience which we haven't done a video about on One UI 8 and what it can do, something which I really, really love. Nothing OS is great, is my second favorite, but it also comes down to what like Color OS is doing for Oppo devices, which has very good integration with an iPad and a Mac, which also makes me like that. But if you just ask me to choose one, I would go with One UI as their main Android skin.
Okay, fair enough.
So that would be for that. And in terms of the community post, as usual, Syed will be asking questions every Tuesday, every single week. If you have any thing to answer about that or give your feedback, please let us know. We will feature you guys and talk to y'all in this particular podcast, whether or not you're listening or even watching the videos. Speaking of videos, before we talk about our video releases recap, what's exciting next week is, of course, Samsung's Unpacked, 9th of July. We cannot talk about it today because we have hands-on with the devices already, and I'm a very bad poker player, so I cannot tell anything, so I better not talk about it until it's done. Unfortunately, Lihud and I will be overseas next. No, not unfortunately. Unfortunately for the podcast. So that's why next week you're not going to have a podcast, because Lihud and I will be heading to Dubai for the Huawei Pura 80 launch. So we're not going to Unpack. We're going to Huawei instead. So we'll be there, and very excited to get our hands on, because Syed has wrote lots of amazing leaks and rumors about the Pura 80, especially the Ultra.
I do like
so
that.
When we come back the following week, that's what we are going to definitely talk about. This week video, we did the Nothing Headphones one. Check out that video if you guys haven't done so, and give us your feedback. At least you got an after feedback now. So if you didn't watch it, you can watch it now. Or if you watched it, you can rewatch it again and remember the things that I said in the video and what we have actually talked about now. Also, by the time you watch this video, we have already released the Samsung Dominates the Smartphone Industry. That is something which I would love for y'all to watch and give us your feedback, because I had fun doing it. I edited the whole entire video. It's been a while since I edited the whole entire video, because Lihud usually does it. And I wanted to do more videos like this, where it's much of a storytelling. And if you love this kind of videos, we would love to know whether or not you like it, because the next topic, I feel like whether or not it's worth it to buy a flagship smartphone. I want to do those kind of like a research storytelling kind of video. So if that video does well, at least we know that those are the kind of videos that you like, besides our typical reviews as well. So yes, that is how we'll be closing the Water Tech episode 22. Thank you so much for listening and watching. My name is Adam Lobo.
My name is Vernon. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.